Hello and welcome back to Retrotainment Recast, the show that we bring to you whenever we bring it to you. There's been a slight change. Don't worry, you didn't miss an episode. Instead of the triple threat this week, we have introduced a new permanent full-time member. It was our Christmas champ. He's no longer going to be called the Christmas champ because he's now a permanent member of the squad. And there can only be one champion in this squad, and that's me. So welcome, Tom. How are you, sir?
How's it going? You well?
Thanks for joining us permanently. I know you enjoy the show.
Yeah, long will last.
Well, you could do a Sherlock or you could do a King and just lose. And
You're sick now. I'll be sick every week.
yeah, well, it wouldn't be a change for this show. As you can see there, the new number one contender, self-proclaimed new number one contender, Ted is back in the shop. How are you, sir?
I'm back again. I used that the last time and it worked out well for me. Well, as in I did win and went on to be the number one contender, but it didn't work out. I didn't lose. It was a draw. Champions advantage kept Greg going. I'm on a bit of a hot streak, bar that. But
technically, you haven't lost in what, 4 weeks, 4 episodes.
I think it's more than that. I can't remember, but I think I might have drawn with you.
Well, you drew with me the last time as well, yeah. So say 4 or 5 episodes.
I think it's 4 or 5 or 6 episodes. Yeah, it's been a good run of not losing, but I could be in trouble because Tom has sent in picks frequently over the last few months and stuff when we're doing this, as he sends them on to you, and a lot of the time he has a lot of very, very solid picks, and some of them are out there that we haven't thought of, and I'm not as confident here now as I am against the boys some weeks, to be honest. Sometimes with the two boys, I know, listen, I've got this one's in the bag. Let's throw it over the shoulder and get out the fucking door. Come on.
But no, as it says, you didn't miss an episode. This was supposed to be a trip, but to get Tom into rotation, the two lads decided to take a step back, and we're letting Ted and Tom go one-on-one for a chance to face me and start the rotation again. So there won't be a triple threat for at least 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Give or take. Providing I win 5 weeks in a row, which I will.
We'll put a stop to that.
You'll put a stop to nothing. You'll shut your mouth and like it. Right, lads. Because we'd already mentioned the film last episode, I'd given you the Village for the triple threat, and we had said normally with a triple threat there's 10 picks. I'm going to lessen that down to 7 out of the list that we sent. Obviously, the viewers won't know the list we sent in until it happens. But, lads, we're going to take out Finton, Mrs. Clack, and Kevin out of the list.
Fair enough.
And we'll go with the 7 big ones as it's a 1v1. Is that all right for you?
Yeah, that's grand. Yeah, there's no point in they're all relatively minor characters, to be honest. And outside of, I'll tell you now, since we're not doing it anyway, there's only one of them there that I was really happy with. Kevin and Finton, I kind of felt, geez, these could go anywhere because they're just going to be small roles. The only one I was happy with was Mrs. Clack. I had Alison Hannigan there.
That's a shout. That's a shout.
I think I would have taken a point with that one. But
I was quite happy with mine as well. I had Laura there.
Well, that's not a bad show.
I had, from back, I had Diane Lane.
Ooh.
Oh, maybe I wouldn't have won. Maybe it is a good thing.
They're 3 solid picks. I think I would have went with Alison Hannigan, really, because I know more of her than Diane Lane at the minute.
And then for Finton, I had Charlie Heaton. So I don't know. Might be a bit big.
Be a bit too big, I'd say.
I don't know. He's not really a big actor outside of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose. I think the popularity of Stranger Things, maybe.
Yeah, I had someone similar. I had Jacob Bertrand, who's a favourite of mine and Greg's. He's very good at playing that,
Cobra Kai's finest.
Yeah, now I know in Cobra Kai he goes on to be a complete fucking beast, but before he's a beast, he's a very timid young man, which is what Finton is. So,
but yeah, well, it was a good thing because I said to you off camera, I made a mistake with who the last character was of Finton. I thought he was the security guard that was played by M. Night Shyamalan. So I had Macaulay Culkin in there as a little cameo, and I had his brother as the outside security guard in Rory Culkin. So
Oh,
he's
you're
going for a nice jump.
All you're missing is Michael Jackson from that. Fuck's sake.
He could beat it and get back in over that wall.
What?
He could beat it and get back in over that wall. Right, lads, send your picks in to the group chat. So if there is a draw,
Yeah, 3, 2, 1. There's mine sent in there now.
Tom has to knock it off because he has to send it in because he's obviously on his phone.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
You can hear my one going through there now.
I have Ted's.
This is a tough film now, I have to say, to recast. Like it's a bit of an
I have
outlier,
Tom
isn't it?
Ted's. So this film for me, I seen it when it came out first in 2004 in a cinema in London, and I went to see this and Dodgeball at the same time.
Well, I know which one's the better film.
I absolutely hated this coming out. Hated it. Didn't watch it up until one of the lads I worked with said it to me to watch it, and I went back through the Shyamalan rewatch, and I rewatched it, and I really enjoyed it the second time. Now I knew what was going to happen, but the cinematography and the acting in this is brilliant.
I think it's a very good film, but if you're picking between this and Dodgeball, which was the better film to watch on a day, Dodgeball is way better than this. Like
Dodgeball all day, every day.
Oh.
Actually, speaking of Dodgeball, did any of you see the video clip of the people in America? They dressed up as the Glow Gym Purple Cobras.
Yeah, seen it.
I'll send it to you after this, Tom.
Going around doing the
best
whole thing.
I've seen. But yeah, so this was, I really enjoyed the rewatch of this. Now it's not Shyamalan's best work.
It's also one of the few where the twist isn't that much of a twist, is it?
I think the end twist is what you're not expecting, but you can kind of judge by a Shyamalan.
You see, that's what I was going to say. Because it's a Shyamalan film, I'm expecting a twist. So from the start, I was like, right, what's the twist going to be? The monsters aren't real, or like it's something weird like that. And that's basically what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's him, you know there's going to be a twist. So the twist isn't that shocking.
I think the double twist was what got people with this one. So obviously you had, spoiler if you haven't seen it, but the fact that the colony are the monsters, but the colony is set in modern day times.
Yeah.
Was the big one, I think.
But it's not a Sixth Sense twist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a fairly small twist. Like it's not beyond the realm of possibility. You know what I mean?
That Sixth Sense twist was just off the charts good, though, wasn't it?
See, people didn't know what to expect it from him back then, though. I guess is the thing. Like, if I didn't know this was him, then maybe I wouldn't have expected that there was going to be a twist. But because I knew it was him, I knew there was a twist coming. You know what I mean?
At this stage, he'd only done the Sixth Sense.
Unbreakable.
Or had he done?
No,
Unbreakable was 2000 as well, wasn't he? Yeah, he'd done a couple actually.
Yeah, like this is he kind of he had that reputation of having a twist. Like
Signs had came out as well at this time. That's his best film for me. Or that's my favorite film of his anyway.
Knock at the Cabin, maybe. I know that's quite new.
That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal.
I haven't seen it.
I'll tell you what. You know the way obviously you see The Rock in acting now, and he used to be a wrestler, and he's not a great actor, but he's a likable actor. Batista is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, The Rock is great at a very specific type of role. I think Batista for me is more diverse as an actor. I think he's very good. Yeah,
he's brilliant. But right, lads, will we get it going? I went over the rules in the dressing room, lads. Watch your kidney punches, watch your rabbit punches. And in the words of the great Mills Lane, let's get it on. Right. Seeing as Tom is new to the fold, I let him go first on the first pick. Ted, you don't even get a say in this. Right. So out of this list, we're going to start off with we'll go close to home. We'll go with August Nicholson here, who was Brendan Gleeson.
That's who I figured you'd go with.
So, Tom, who you got?
He was in that more, to be honest. Couldn't believe he was only.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's only in it
he's
for
only
a very
small.
small amount, isn't it? Like,
So was Sigourney Weaver, really.
yeah.
Okay, you have to do some. Yeah, I went with Nick Offerman.
Oh, I like Nick
From-
Offerman. Yeah.
I think he was in the Last of Us, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in Parks and Rec as well. Or
Yeah, Parks and Rec is where I know him from, but
yeah,
Like, not a major actor, but like he's good character actor, you know.
yeah, he's very good.
I think we've used him once or twice before early on in it. I think I used it once when Sherlock was judging because Sherlock had seen Parks and Recs. So I knew he'd get why I thought of Offerman for whatever role I put him in for.
Yeah, he's good though. Ted, what you got?
Yeah, this one I was batting a few names around, and what I was thinking was they kind of got him in as a bit of a name value here to bump this film up a bit. So the first name that came to my head, and I obviously didn't use this person because they've said they've since retired, but I thought Gary Oldman would have been like phenomenal here. But obviously the man has said that he's retired.
Once he's finished doing this,
he's got to finish what he's currently signed up to film, but
you're not doing slow.
Slow Horses or something he's doing.
Yeah. So he's finishing out any contracts he has outstanding, and then he said he's done. But I was kind of thinking, you could maybe rope him back in for this because it's such a minor role. But our rule of thumb is that if they say they've retired, that we have to kind of honor that until such time as they're no longer retired.
I got absolutely stung doing
Jim Carrey.
Batman?
No,
Jim Carrey.
You used Jim Carrey for something. It wasn't for Batman.
Oh,
I can't remember.
Hercules. I used Jim Carrey as Hades, and he'd retired. And then the next day after recording, he came out saying, "No, I'm not done. I'm not done yet."
The other names I had Bill Pullman as one. I was thinking of him from The Sinner, but I don't know if Greg had seen that. So
The Sinner was brilliant.
See, I wasn't sure if you'd watched it, so I didn't want to go with Bill Pullman from that. So I went with a name, somebody who has a bit of a name, not a huge name, but is also willing to take very to the side roles. And you can believe as kind of like the leader of things. I went with Sean Pertwee.
Sarge is in the house.
Now, the reason it's actually, that was only 2 days ago, I think I settled on him, and it's because I watched a film that came out last year, I think it was, that I'd mentioned to you that I wanted to watch in the cinema and didn't end up going to see, called The Invitation.
Yes.
And he's the butler in that, and I was like, oh, he takes a relatively small role in this. Now, he's the butler in Gotham. Oh. Yeah, which Greg still hasn't watched as many times as I tell him how deadly it is. But he's the butler in that as well. And I think he's very good at taking a role where he's not on screen too much, but he also does have a name in Hollywood that you can believe he, put his name on a poster for people to buy him. Like,
yeah, I do like Sean Pertwee now. I must say, obviously being in one of my favorite films in Dog Soldiers as well. So I had a couple of names on my list. I had Will Patton for a while. I think he's just a bit too old.
Too old, I think.
Yeah,
I do like Will Patton. I William H. Macy.
Yeah, I had him as back.
Did you? I thought I was on to a good one with that, but Ted actually mentioned my pick. I had Bill Pullman.
Yeah, see, I didn't know if you'd seen The Sinner. I knew I'd mentioned it to you before, but I couldn't remember if you'd said you'd seen it or not.
I'm pretty sure I told you to watch The Sinner.
No, I watched it when it first came out on Netflix, like 10 years ago or whatever it was, or 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, we were in when we were on our honeymoon. They were filming that in Orlando, in Universal at the time, and it was a big, huge banner up with Jessica Biel on it.
Yeah, I would have said William H. Macy was probably a bit too old as well because he's older than Thing as well, isn't he? He's older than Patton.
I think he's the oldest of a lot of them.
Yeah. So.
But I was happy enough when I stuck with Pullman, and then when you said it, I was like, oh, you got it. Nick Offerman's a good pick. Sean Pertwee's a good pick. the problem is I don't know much of Offerman. I've seen a couple of episodes of Community, and I didn't or Parks and Recs, and I didn't really like the show. Now I don't know whether it's going to be one of them ones where the more you watch it, the more you get into it.
I'll tell you, in terms of Parks and Rec, it kicks off in season 2. Season 1 isn't great. What they basically tried to do was make it be similar to The Office, from which we obviously love, but it doesn't really work for that type of show. That show kicks off massively in season 2.
So same way that only some years.
How well known is Sean Pertwee in America? Is he big?
He's done lots of Event Horizon and stuff.
Yeah, he
was played Alfred in Gotham.
I know he's big in it.
Yeah.
No,
I've seen him in a few things. He obviously works quite a lot with Neil Marshall as well.
Yeah, he's done a lot of horror as well. Do you know what I mean? So I was kind of like, well, he doesn't mind dipping his hand into the horror pot either.
I wouldn't be overly mad on either of them. Well, I don't really know Offerman as much to say it could be him, that kind of way. So by that, I'm going to have to go with Pertwee. I'm not overly a fan of the pick. I do love the Sarge, but
yeah. See, I think if you watched, especially The Invitation, I think if you watched The Invitation, you'd see what I mean, where he takes that small role and
I'll actually give it a watch. I have it on the saved list there to watch.
Yeah, so do I. That's how I ended up watching it like 2 or 3 days ago.
I mean, yeah, the last one you told me Sick I watched was okay.
Yeah, did not live up to. Totally Killer is another one I told you to watch, which I think you'll enjoy.
That one I'd heard about on the radio as well. I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah, these are all horror films. So this is what me and Greg spend most of our time talking about, is horror films at the moment.
Right, we might as well jump across then, as I mentioned earlier, to Sigourney Weaver and Alice Hunt.
Yeah. Again, this is a big name that doesn't.
I'm very happy with my pick here.
This is again another big name that doesn't really majorly affect the plot line, other than being Lucius's mother.
Yeah, the interest, isn't she? For
they kind of hint that she's the interest for August, but then they never really do anything with it. They just kind of hint at it a lot. Or is it? No, she's the love interest for
Walker, the father.
Ed Walker, yeah. But then they don't really go anywhere with it. I kind of batted around a few names here. One of them was Winona Ryder, who I think, relatively big name, could jump in there. But I don't know if she's taking such minor roles anymore, because her name's gone up in value again since Stranger Things.
Yeah, but it's kind of a big role because it's a big director. So I think any actor would kind of take that role.
Yeah, potentially. But then I was kind of thinking, she might just feel a little bit that she doesn't want to take a small role like that. Now that doesn't really help the person I did go with. I went with someone who's a big name in horror in Jamie Lee Curtis, but she might be too big a name for this role as well. I wouldn't think so. Jamie Lee Curtis is only maybe
into her 70s.
Not into her 70s. Jamie Lee Curtis is
Halloween's 40. 64.
She's 64. She's not into her 70s. I knew she wasn't that old.
Because Halloween was only 45 years ago when it came out.
Yeah,
she was only 17.
She was meant to be a teenager in that. I was like, there's no way that would have meant her. She was like 30 when she played the teenager in Halloween. Yeah, she's 64, which is a little bit older than Alice is, than the original Alice was. But I kind of needed to do that because I bumped up the ages of some of my other characters as well a little bit.
That's all right. It's a good show.
So I think, she's taken that kind of side character a little bit in recent years. Even in, as much as she's a very main character in the Halloween things, she is a little bit on the side of the newer Halloween films as well. And then
definitely the second one. Definitely in Kills.
Yeah, and then obviously, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is what she ended up getting her Oscar for, which questionable, but she's obviously she's not the main character in that. She's not even the second main character in that film. Do you know what I mean? So I was kind of like, yeah, she could take that role, and again, just a name the same way Sigourney Weaver was, that'd draw people into it.
If I remember rightly, Weaver was billed as one of the top 2 or top 3.
And that's what I was kind of thinking here. I was like, they built it around certain names, because the other names, although had established careers, weren't as big as they've gone on to be anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Tom, what you got?
I went with Kate Blanchett.
It's a good show.
Similar age.
Why are you talking about Titanic? Oh, that's Winslet, isn't it?
Yeah, I went Kate Blanchett. So just from
Lord of the Rings.
everything.
Yeah, she is in Lord of the Rings.
She was Galadriel, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Veronica Guerin and all that kind of stuff.
she was in Thor Ragnarok.
That's probably the best American doing an Irish accent ever.
I think was she not the sister in Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah, she was in Ragnarok.
Yeah, it's a decent show. Although she was in Ocean's 8, which does negatively affect her career.
That negatively affected this fucking studio's budget range as well. That was awful. That was actually better than the Ghostbusters one they tried to do, though.
Oh, it was much, much better, because the premise, because it at least made sense there. But it wasn't, in terms of the Ocean films, it wasn't great.
So I only had one name for this, and funny that you mentioned Marvel movie. This pick came from Marvel. Well, actually, technically, it came from Sony. I went with Marissa Tomei here.
Yeah, I looked at
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'd looked at Marissa Tomei. I think she just looks a bit too young, maybe. Like, she's very young looking, and the way
she's into her 50s as well, though.
She don't get me wrong, she is into her 50s. I know that, but I think she just looks very young in comparison to some of the
Ted, leave me be. I want Marissa Tomei in this movie.
No, I'm just saying that's I'd looked at her, and that's kind of what put me away from using her, was that I was like, she just looks that little bit too young, and these are meant to be they keep referring to them as the elders.
Yeah.
I struggle to be like, oh yeah, Marissa Tomei's in it, one of the elders. Do you know what I mean? But
I'll tell
you what, that woman is an alien or skinwalker or shapeshifter or something.
Listen, some of them Hollywood actors and actresses, you just, they don't age.
Her acting has gotten significantly better over the years as well.
Keanu Reeves has looked the same since he was 16, and he's nearly 60 now.
He's just grey now.
Yeah, he's just got grey hair, but he just looks the same as he did when he was 16, and he's 60 now.
Look at Tom Cruise.
Yeah, again, just looks the same. They don't age.
That's all for a different podcast at a different time, lads.
Yeah.
We're gonna level this up here, and we're gonna go 1-1 here. I'm gonna go with Blanchett here.
Yeah, can't say anything against Kate Blanchett taking that role.
It's two Oscar winners there.
Yeah.
One very questionable Oscar win, but we'll say nothing. Huh?
Is that her first win?
Jamie Lee?
Yeah, that's Jamie Lee's first Oscar. And I think she got it because they kind of know they maybe made a bit of a mess in previous years, or she maybe should have won it and she didn't.
And the fact that her parents should have had about 5 between them and had none.
Richard Curtis.
Yeah, I think he got nominated for 3, and Janet Leigh obviously nominated for 2 and didn't get either. So
you get nominated for Psycho?
No, I don't think it was Psycho. I think it was
horrors. Very rarely get a nomination. To be honest, it's a really rare thing for any horror.
I identified her as a scream legend or horror legend, though.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, in general, horrors don't tend to win Oscars.
Hitchcock, that'd be good. Hitchcock movies.
Hitchcock is brilliant, though. Even the movie Hitchcock was brilliant. Right, so it's 1-1. We're gonna go on here. Probably gonna have to be Ed Walker here.
Do you think? Kitty Walker, no?
Kitty or Ed, yeah, I think it's one of those
Well, I was
two.
gonna go Ed then Kitty anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't like either of them really.
Yeah, as I said, this is another one that I'm really happy with. So we're gonna go with Ed here. Sorry, that's my phone. Tom, you're up.
I had a backup. I had a backup as Mel Gibson, more because M. Night Shyamalan kind of link, kind of thing.
See,
Then,
that's not a bad pick.
then I went with Viggo Mortensen,
Oh, I do like Mortensen.
another kind of actor, kind of quietly spoke, the kind of way. That John Hurt was it? Or not John Hurt, is it John Hurt?
Yeah, it was John Hurt, yeah.
What an actor.
Yeah. So I thought similar age, mid 50s.
He's back in shape now as well.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, he's back in shape. I remember we had this argument on something before where me and you had him, Greg, and the lads were like, he's out of shape. And I was like, no, fuck anymore.
That was Kill Bill.
Yeah, that's what it was.
When I gave out yards when Sherlock picked Ting from Cobra Kai, and you had him as a backup, and I went mental.
Yeah, I still think you were wrong there. I think he deserved to. I don't think that was a bad shout by Sherlock, but right, I'll tell you. Sorry, we're doing Edward here. So one person I had was Michael Shannon as a backup.
I love Michael Shannon,
but I felt Michael Shannon is maybe a little bit too young for that role.
Yeah, I would say so.
Now the thing with Michael Shannon is he looks a bit older than he is, so he could maybe have got away with it there. I had Justin Long there, right, for a little bit, but only because I was just like, Justin Long deserves to be in a film like that.
Justin Long lately? He looks old now. He's in the new Goosebumps.
He does look old, but again, I was like, I still don't think he fits that role all that well.
No.
And the last backup I had was Eric Roberts, who I feel maybe just wasn't a big enough name to go there.
He's probably far too old now, isn't he?
See, I don't know that he's too old, but he's just
big enough though, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know that he really fit there.
Yeah,
he's a badass, isn't he? He's like a triple black belt in karate or something, isn't he?
See that I always remember him as being more of a in your face abrasive kind of character, which doesn't really fit Edward Walker at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went with Cary Elwes. So
Robin Hood himself, the real Robin Hood.
Yeah, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, obviously the Princess Bride and stuff. That was all early in his career. More recently, he's been doing things like Saw, Mission Impossible. He was in Twister and stuff. So like he has.
That was 96 or something.
It was, but you know what I mean. Like he's taken in, like he has gone into these horror roles as well. Like
he's a great actor. To be fair to him.
Yeah, and I kind of felt he has that kind of soft spokenness to him, where you'd believe he's kind of the fatherly figure who knows what he's doing is wrong, but he's doing it because he feels he needs to look out for his children.
It's wrong, but he's doing it for what he thinks is the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I think he kind of fits in well enough there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Wasn't that wrong though, really? Like it wasn't like.
Well, he's kind of keeping them trapped in.
The whole point is they're trying to keep them safe, is it?
Yeah, but safe because they all went to some they all suffered like a loss.
Trauma.
Yeah, they all suffered trauma and then went and pretended they were living in the fucking
Stone Age,
like back in the 1930s or something. Well, the rest of the world.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right? There's about 10 families in that village, right?
And there's way too many children.
Surely to God, that means it's going to become inbred at some stage.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's only about 10 elders, and like they'll all have to eventually intermarry. And like,
but look, it is what it is. Cary Elwes is a good pick. My pick, I kind of went down the same kind of route Ted did, the soft spoken kind of there, but doing everything for the wrong reasons. But I went with a Harry Potter actor here. No, not just a Harry Potter actor. He's actually a really good actor. I went with Kenneth Branagh here.
Yeah, it's good show.
Is that a first time use?
No, I've used him before, and Sherlock's used him a couple of times against me.
Oh, has he? Yeah, okay.
I like Kenneth Branagh. He's a good actor. He's turned into a really good director as well.
He's probably acting, wasn't he? He's in those Poirot films.
Yeah, he's in that newest one now as well. That's out.
House Haunted. Venice, Murder in Venice.
The Venice,
Haunted
yeah.
Venice, yeah.
The Haunting of Venice is actually quite good, but
I haven't
he's
seen
very
it.
he's very good as Poirot though. He actually and you wouldn't really know it's him, to be honest, when you watch it. Like you would not know that that's him. Like they've done the makeup very well on him.
Yeah, I have. As I says, I haven't seen them. I know them from other things.
That's a good
them
pick.
kind of films aren't really my kind of thing. They're two good picks there, though, lads. I haven't seen Viggo Mortensen much as of late, but obviously I know what he can do as an actor, and I've used him a fair few times myself. Carrie Elways, I've seen most recently in Saw.
Mission Impossible. No?
Yeah, Saw and
Yeah,
Mission Impossible is probably the most recent thing he's done.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think what way I've seen it. So Saw 7 or 8, whichever one. I know it's years ago now, but
I don't know. He was in a couple of them. I didn't think he was in that many of them, but apparently he's been in.
yeah, he's in the first one. He makes appearances in 3 and 5, I think, and then he comes back in 7 or 8, because then it went Spiral, which was terrible.
He's in The Princess Bride, isn't he?
He was in The Princess Bride and Robin Hood Men in Tights early in his career. He was in like Saw 3D and stuff like that, which I don't even know what number that is in the series at this point.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Viggo Mortensen here. I think he has that rougher look than Elways does.
Yeah, the dad doesn't really have that rough look though.
Well, to be fair, they all look kind of scruffy.
Yeah, that's because they're living in the fucking 1920s or
they're
something.
Living in squalors. But don't die on me now, Pen. Yeah, I just think they all have that thing. I think Elways is, and having seen pictures of him recently, I know acting is acting and they do whatever in makeup. He doesn't look nearly as old as he should.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't.
He done Comic-Con Liverpool there a couple of weeks ago, and I seen pictures that the lads had with him.
Yeah, he hasn't aged. Like he doesn't look massively old either.
He's definitely doing that thing that all those top stars are doing.
Yeah,
so you're not picking him because he's looked after himself. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah. You're lucky you picked the scruffy cunt.
You see, the only thing with Viggo Mortensen is I genuinely think one of the only things I know him from is Lord of the Rings.
He was absolutely. I know it's even before Lord of the Rings, but in Carlito's way, he's brilliant.
No,
as
Crimson Tide.
Like, my dick don't work, man.
Yeah, I guess I was kind of thinking along the lines of the fact that we're that William Hurt was a huge name as well. Here, I was trying to pick someone with a big catalog behind him as well, which is what put me off the likes of Eric Roberts and kind of things like that.
I'd say Mortensen has a bigger name than Elways does.
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't think he has a bigger back catalogue than Elways, but I could
not
be
a bigger
wrong.
back catalogue, but in terms of acting, John Hurt was a big name actor, not just from the catalogue though. Like you could take half his junk movies out.
Viggo Mortensen did after Lord of the Rings. He did loads of stuff.
His Story of Violence, Eastern Promise, and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Elways, obviously Princess Bride, Robin Hood. He's in those Saws, Liar Liar, Mission Impossible.
He's so good in Liar Liar as the boyfriend.
Yeah, like when you actually look through his thing, you kind of forget a lot of the stuff he was in. And when you look back, you're like, holy shit, he was actually in way more stuff than I remember. But
well, anyway, we'll go on. It's 2-1 at the minute.
Yeah.
I'd imagine we'll have to go to Kitty Walker here.
Yeah, Kitty's the older sister.
My old friend. I
Yeah.
fucking hate her. I hate her so much.
Don't
I
understand
forgot
why.
she was even in this movie.
Don't know why you hate her. Don't
I'm
understand it.
wondering, is my absolute hate for this lady as an actress coming from when I seen this movie when I was younger?
I don't know, Greg, because I genuinely don't know why you hate her.
I don't know myself.
Like,
Huh?
What else is she in?
Judy Greer, she's in loads. Halloween, she's in loads of TV shows. She's in everything.
she's in Halloween.
Jurassic Park.
She was she was the voice of one of the
Jurassic
characters
World.
in one of the actors in Archer. She was in Carrie. She's been in like loads of. She's got a huge fucking back catalogue, and I don't understand why Greg hates her, but he just despises her.
Hate her. I hate her.
I know between love and hate, Greg. Probably love her.
I really don't love her, to be honest. I might have been the only person in the cinema when I went to see Halloween Kills when she gets killed at the end of it. Go, yes.
Yeah. So, I possibly got stuck on the fact that they're kind of both, they're both kind of redheads in this.
I don't think that actually matters, though.
It doesn't matter, but I think I kind of got stuck on it a little bit when I was doing this because my backup was Emma Stone. But I kind of feel maybe she's a bit too big of a name there. But that being said, you know, Judy Greer was a big name as well. So I went with someone who's similar age to what age Judy was when she did this, but isn't as big a name as she used to be. I went with Sophie Turner, who's kind of been out of the limelight a little bit now, but at the same time does have that name.
She's back in it now for the wrong reasons, isn't she?
I wouldn't say it's the wrong reasons. You know, her and the fucking husband got
not
divorced.
Not for being in
films, yeah. But I think she could do that role quite well. You know, like the older sister's a bit like not full of herself, but you know, she's certain that that Lucius Hunt is going to go for her, like a bit confident in herself in that way. And that's very similar to what Sophie Turner did. Obviously, when she was way younger, she was certain that in Game of Thrones that she was going to marry the Prince Joffrey and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good pick. Now.
Yeah, I think she works very well there.
Tom, what do you got?
With Natalie Dyer from Stranger Things. I just sort of simple. That was my main reason. Kind of similar look, good actress, kind of up and coming. Not a big star, but kind of, you know.
Yeah.
She's certainly getting around, isn't she? The name is growing big time for her.
Well, similar kind of age group. But I was thinking as well, kind of the way Ted was thinking, but then thought, is it that important?
I mean, you can always just stick a wig on them. You can always just stick a wig on them if it was really important. But like as I said, I think I just kind of got stuck on the idea of that, which just sometimes happens when you're doing these things.
Yeah.
So I actually had a Game of Thrones actress as a backup. I had Natalie Dormer as a backup. And I just never really settled on it. I was like, oh. Then I kind of batted around Amanda Seyfried and things like that. I think I went with people that I don't really overly like.
See, I really like Natalie Dormer as an actress. I actually quite like Amanda Seyfried as an actress. They are all way too old for this role.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, yeah. When I went through it, you know, when I was just jotting down names.
Yeah.
I went with Catherine Newton, one of Sherlock's favorites.
What's she in? I don't know.
What would you know her from? Tom?
Ant-Man, maybe? Did you see Ant-Man? She's the like daughter in the latest Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah.
She's in Blockers. She's in Pokemon. She's in Paranormal Activity. She's in Ant-Man. I was going to say Mission Impossible there. She's going to be in the new Avengers. Again, obviously, from Ant-Man.
Yeah, she was in Freaky, which is like...
That was really good, actually.
It was very good, yeah. It's like Freaky Friday, except instead of it being like switches with her mother, it's switches with some like serial killer.
But the one that I picked it from was I was watching a movie in her ma's house the other day when she was watching it. It was called Ben is Back with Julia Roberts. It's like her son goes off and tries to commit suicide, and she's like the friend in it.
That doesn't sound like
Very
a
good.
fun watch.
It wasn't, but it was very good. But that's who I went with there.
Yeah.
So, do you know what? I didn't, when I heard Sophie Turner, I was like, yeah, it's going to be an easy pick. And it is going to stay as an easy pick for Sophie Turner.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the right shout. That would have picked over mine as well, I'd say.
Yeah. I
Unless
think
Sherlock was judging, and he would have been like, nope.
yeah, he probably wouldn't have gone for that. He probably would have gone for Catherine Newton over Sophie Turner. But I do think Sophie Turner. I had Emma Stone there for ages, and I really didn't like the fact that I had Emma Stone there, but I couldn't move off it. Like,
it's just not her type of movie, is it?
I think she'd be too big.
It's more, yeah. It's as Tom's saying. I think she's just too big a name for that role. And I was like, I don't like that I have her there, but I can't move on to anyone else. And then it was only last week maybe I moved on to Sophie. That Sophie Turner came into my head, and I was like, oh, that's a good show. It's probably because, as Greg said, her name's popped back up in the news recently. That's probably what put her back in my head as someone that could do that.
Now, I'm going to ask you the question, see what you think. Am I going Lucius here, or am I going Noah here? Because both of them, like Lucius, obviously comes out of the movie after an hour and a bit. Noah is periodically through the movie.
I would say Lucius.
I would say, yeah, they're both kind of, like, again, I think they're both very equal. I think you could go either way here. Like, the main character is Ivy, really.
Yeah.
Lucius is probably the main character for the start of the film.
Yeah.
But then he's not the main character by the end of the film. The main character by the end of the film is Ivy, and the main protagonist is probably, like, you'd have to go and say that Noah. The main protagonist is Noah by the end of it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Adrian Brody stole the show.
He's brilliant in this. Absolutely fantastic in this.
Probably his best role. I don't care if he won an Oscar for The Pianist or whatever. This is his best performance for me. He's phenomenal. But yeah, we'll go with Lucius here. Obviously, Joaquin Phoenix. And like at this stage, he'd linked in with M. Night a couple of times this year. This is the second time. It seemed to be one of those forming relationships, isn't it, where it looked like, yeah, this is going to be Scorsese, De Niro all over again.
And then it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but sure. Tom, what you got?
Me? He's a strange character, I thought.
Yeah, he's very, very awkward.
Quiet and awkward, and went a little bit different. I went with Jesse Plemons.
Oh, I do like Jesse Plemons.
He doesn't have to be that good looking or anything, you know. He's not like a. Because you're one blind anyway, so just be honest.
You're so good, you are.
The sister isn't though. The sister was infatuated with him as well.
But he's kind of. I suppose he hasn't got much choice though either. So.
It's that or your brother.
Yeah, I will agree. There isn't. They're very limited to the people that are living in there, but.
He's probably the local stud, you know. But I just thought, actor.
Pouring all the old ones out of it.
And I was just watching Fargo 2 when I was doing it, and I thought he's so good now.
Yeah, no, he's.
Wait till you see his performance in Antlers.
Haven't seen Antlers because you said it was shit.
He's in that recent Scorsese film, the killing of.
Oh, is he? Yeah. Sun Moon or something. Tell what you got.
So yeah, Lucius Hunt, he's a very brooding, very down on himself sort of character. But for some reason people still seem to be drawn to him, not just like Ivy and Kitty, but like the whole town seems to be quite drawn to him as they look to him when things are going wrong. So I kind of went with like the brooding kind of character. So I had two backups. One was Kit Harington, who I thought I didn't really like that name there.
Yeah, a bit too old.
Possibly a bit too old. I do have another backup that's a lot younger and probably does fit it, but doesn't have the name value that was needed there in Fabian Frankel, who is Sir Kristen in House of Dragon.
Didn't watch that.
You did watch House of the Dragon, didn't you?
No.
I thought you watched it because Sherlock used Paddy Constantine and mentioned it quite a few times.
No, I know who Paddy Constantine is though.
All right, I thought that's how
He also follows us on the slab.
Right, I thought you'd possibly use that, so I'm glad I didn't use him. The reason I didn't is because he's Fabian isn't as big a name. I went with someone who's great at playing the brooding character, and this is where I was saying I aged up the character maybe a little bit. But I think the actor still looks relatively young and can pull this off. I went with Robert Pattinson here.
Or Pats.
Yeah,
the
or Pats.
Himself.
He plays a brooding character better than anyone. And, you know, brilliant actor as well. Like,
I think he got a lot of stick for his Batman, didn't he? Because the movie itself is just far too long.
I think the problem with the film is that it's too long, and people are so used to Batman that they want Batman to be Batman immediately, whereas his film is him becoming Batman. Good. Yeah, it's him becoming Batman. Do you know what I mean? Whereas people are just so used to it being, right, he's already Batman, so let's just fucking get into this. Like,
yeah.
Huh? It was a bit slow.
It's a good film, but it's just very like I bought. What?
Where you were saying there that the new Scorsese film feels every bit of 3.5. That Batman movie felt every bit of it.
Yeah. But
even the next one's even longer.
See, the next one being longer probably won't bother me as much, because I think with the next one, he'll have, you know, the character will have already grown into being Batman, so he won't be as, like, it'll be more action packed, I think.
Well, you think about the Nolan films, or so they actually went really fast, and they're probably the same kind of length.
They were intense, yeah.
Yeah, but he went very much quicker with the Batman being the Batman already, John. Like, the move from, oh, who am I, to, oh, I'm the Batman, was really quick in his film, which worked really well because you got a lot of action very quickly. This one's a slower burner.
I suppose, though, if you think of Nolan's one, Batman Begins is quite slow.
Yeah, in comparison to the other ones, yeah.
Got quicker. It was just more interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nolan wouldn't have been one I would have ever picked to do a Batman movie either.
No, and I think he did brilliantly with them. But even with the Batman feeling quite long, I think Pats does a great, like, the brooding character. He's just fucking brilliant at it. And then as much stick as he gets and as much stick as he fucking hates it, that's basically the character he was in Twilight as well, was a brooding little.
It's also the same that he played in that movie when he gets killed in the Twin Towers. Eyes on Me or All About Me or something like that.
Yeah,
can't remember he's a moody cunt that lives in the house with his parents.
Yeah, but I think he plays that, you know, moody bastard, but people are still drawn to him a lot of the time, regardless of that, in those films. Now, obviously, I know that's the writing of the film, but he plays that very well doing that.
Yeah. So I had two names. The first name I had was Austin Butler. I think he's just probably too good looking and too clean.
Yeah.
Probably far too charismatic to play that role.
Yeah.
So I went with someone else that's a moody cunt, and he plays it in everything that he's in. I went with Timothée Chalamet here. Superstar on the rise. Fucking phenomenal actor. And nothing.
Very soft featured, though, isn't he?
But I suppose when you watch Joaquin Phoenix in this, he's very withdrawn in everything.
No, but I mean, like, Timothée Chalamet looks like it. Like, he still looks like he's a teenager. Do you know what I mean? He's still very, very young looking. He doesn't have the kind of gruff look, I guess, that Lucius had.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'd have said against Timothée Chalamet. Like,
what'd you say there, Tom?
He's about, what was he, 30 in this?
30. Yeah, 30.
Chalamet's 28, I think.
Yeah, Chalamet's not far off in actual age. I'm just saying Chalamet looks way younger than he is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's who I went with. It's a tough one. I like Clement and I like Patterson. I think I'm going to give this one to Ted. I think Patterson fits that broody cunt.
Yeah, I think when I had him as the name, I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to get off. or Pats. Sorry, Tom.
You think what is?
Patterson is a better pick than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just happens, doesn't it? You're just like, yeah.
It is a good pick.
Unless it was Ben Barnes, in which case it was the better pick and still didn't get the point.
I have never won a point with Ben Barnes. Even though everyone's always been like, I think that's a better pick. It's never worked out for me.
But sure, look, I think that's probably a better pick than mine as well, to be honest. But it was a good shout there, Ted.
I think you probably got caught a bit on the age there. I think or Pats is the name that would have come to everyone's head like immediately, but everyone would have just thought. I think people think of him as older than he actually is because he's been around for so long now.
Yeah, well, I suppose he was, 16 or something, 17 doing Twilight, and that was 06, 07.
Yeah, exactly. I think people just think he's a bit older than he is, which is probably why he didn't pop to your heads immediately, because that was the first name I had, and I was trying to think of others to go around it. And then I was just like, why would I bother?
So, main protagonist time, lads. Tom, you need both of them. I'm not even sure what we're going to do if there's a draw here, lads.
Triple threat.
Ted, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, Ted's up.
So, Noah Percy. So obviously, a very simple character. You know what I mean? Like that's the character. He's like slow. Well, not slow, but like his mind mentally he's not the adult that he's meant to be and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was kind of batting around that, like awkward, like playful but awkward, but obviously very possessive as well. Kind of, feels that he owns Ivy, which is kind of where this all comes from. He sees Ivy gravitating towards.
He has a very vindictive streak as well.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I was kind of thinking that. So the first name that came into my head there was probably Paul Dano. But I don't think Paul Dano is that type of character. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he plays that. Like, he's very good at being awkward and weird, but it's a different awkward and weird, I feel. David Dalsmashian was another one. Again, a little bit maybe too old there, I thought.
And maybe 10 years ago, Dalsmashian's perfect.
Yeah. One name I did have, and it's only because I did not realize how old he is Jim Parsons was there, who was obviously Sheldon.
50s,
he's like 50 now. I didn't know he was 50. I assumed he was still kind of in his late 30s maybe. But I think, like, obviously when you think about the Sheldon Cooper character, he would have been brilliant in here. But at 50 years old, there's no way you can cast him there without being like, all the parents have to be in their 70s or 80s. So I went with someone that I don't know if we've used before and isn't as big a name in Spencer Trent Clark. Now, I cannot remember what I was watching. Spencer Trent Clark. I can't remember what I was watching that he came up in. But he's been in a lot of films. He was years ago. He was the son in Gladiator. Which
you went for this because he has a fucking connection to M. Night. He was in Glass as well.
I didn't go for him because he has the connection to M. Night. I knew he was in Glass, but it wasn't. I genuinely can't remember what I was watching that I seen him in and was like, oh, he'd be very good at that role. And then I seen he was in Glass, he was in Unbreakable, and then obviously like Gladiator and things like that as well. And I was just like, I think he could work quite well there. I think
I know what you watched him in. He was in the Weird Al story.
No, because I haven't watched Weird Al yet.
Oh.
So I genuinely can't remember what I think I was just watching some sort of series and he was just in maybe 1 or 2 episodes of it. And it's while I was doing this and I was like, geez, he'd be good for Noah because he played a real awkward kind of stay away from me character in it. So I was like, that works.
Do you remember when we used the talk of a film where you put someone's big name on it and they're taken away within a minute or two? And I always bring up that movie Camp Hell with Jesse Eisenberg. He's the main guy in Camp Hell.
Oh, okay. It wasn't Camp Hell I was watching, I can tell you that. But
you're actually kind of lucky that I know a couple of the movies that he's in because you were in some trouble otherwise.
He's one of those people that name-wise, I don't think people know his name that well. But when you look at the things he's done, you're like, oh, actually, I do know a lot of those films.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I went with Paul Dano. I just think you think of films like Prisoners and stuff like that. I just think he's just that kind of strange kind of character. Brilliantly, like it.
You know what? Every time I think of Paul Dano, all I can ever think of is Girl Next Door, where he plays the weird friend.
He just plays a weirdo.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, when you think back we go back to Batman again, that scene when he's in the prison, when he's in Arkham prison and he's singing Ave Maria.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's brilliant. Like I can't take anything away from Paul Dano. It was just I felt he's a different kind of weird than Noah was in this, but that might have just been in my own head that I didn't want to use him because I'd used Pattinson. Possibly, I don't know.
You're linking the two up again. Yeah, you kind of flatten that.
Possibly, I just didn't want to do that. But I don't, and I think I said this before when he was used for something that I didn't feel he fit that type of awkward character. But like maybe I just went too far away going with your man Spencer. But I think Spencer, I genuinely do think Spencer would be very good in that.
I only had one name for this, and I went more so off the good acting ability into the statistic nature. I went with Barry Keoghan here.
Yeah, I was thinking about him.
Barry Keoghan would be good,
yeah. I think he'd fit it perfectly. He looks awkward. I'd imagine he can probably play that kind of.
No, he'd be very good there.
Mentally challenged role.
Didn't even think of him, but yeah, he'd be very good there now. I think that if I was judging, that'd be the one I'd have gone with now, to be honest. Keoghan, like.
Right, lads, we're going down to the last. It's 3 apiece.
I knew I shouldn't have strayed away from Paul Dano. I knew I should have just stayed with him.
I don't know enough of you, man, as an actor. I've seen him in a few things, but nothing that statement-wise goes, I know who he is. Like, I know who he is, but I don't know who he is.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I went for with him in this film. I was like, he's kind of like, he's just a bit awkward in the film, and I was like, oh, I'll go with that. But yeah, I can't say anything against Paul Dano, just that I didn't want to use him because I didn't feel he fitted. But there's no, like, that's just in my own head, I guess, that I was feeling that way. So
fair enough. I just checked the picks, lads, just to make sure we're not going to have a draw. We will not have a draw.
I didn't think we would. I would have been surprised if Tom went with the person I went with.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure just to see. We won't have a draw.
Fair enough.
So we are going to have a winner tonight. Right, lads. Last pick of the day. It is Bryce Dallas Howard, a very young Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
As Ivy Walker.
He's brilliant in it too. He's class.
Oh, brilliant in it.
Playing a blind girl is just ridiculous. Now, I mean, I seen Jessica Alba try this in a movie called The Eye, where she plays a blind girl, and it was atrocious.
Let's be fair, Jessica Alba is not a great actress. Like, let's be fair.
I mean, anybody that plays a blind character, if you ask me how many great performances of people playing blind characters, I'm probably going with, at best, maybe 4 or 5. The one I can always think of is Al Pacino, Scent of a Woman.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx is Ray Charles. This probably now, after rewatching it.
Yeah, there's very few films where there's a lead blind character. Do you know what I mean?
This one doesn't actually start off with her being a lead though either. It kind of just develops that way, doesn't it?
No, yeah. She develops into being the lead, but do you know what I mean? Like usually when there's a blind character, it's his best friend's blind or the next door neighbor's blind or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Right, Tom.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I only had one person really. I went with Chloe Grace Moretz. Similar age, good actress. Very good actor. Kind of similar level, I would have thought. Maybe a bit bigger than she would have been at that age, but
she's definitely bigger than Bryce Dallas Howard was.
Way bigger, yeah, much bigger.
Woman, you know. I went each group kind of 25, that kind of age.
Yeah, but you think Chloe Grace Moretz has been around for fucking 10 years or more?
Yeah.
But she's never really had her own kind of movie, has she? Kind of been the number one kind of star in a movie.
Carrie.
She was in Carrie, and then she kind of dropped off a little bit after that, and then she's
She's always played. She's played mains in movies, but never the main. Bar Carrie, I don't think.
Who's in that one? Let the Right One In, wasn't she? Was she in that?
Let the Right One In, yeah. But again, she wasn't the main character in that. The young fella was. She plays the vampire in it.
Is the vampire not the main character?
No, it's all about the friend who befriends her, the young lad. Brilliant fucking movie. Brilliant movie. I was only talking to someone on Instagram about it the other day. And I told her, I was saying, there's a funny story I have about that. So I used to rent out a load of DVDs to watch, right? And I picked up that, and I picked up Let the Right One In, and watched them back to back. I was like, they're pretty fucking similar movies. Didn't realize there was an American remake of it. And both of them, for a trade, both of them were very fucking good.
Very good.
Yeah, so originally I had Sadie Sink here.
Yes.
Decent shout. Then I had Sophia Lillis, who I think, again, is a pretty good shout there. Playing that kind of awkward, well, not awkward, but like confident in herself, but obviously, you know, because she's blind, she's a bit awkward the whole way through it because she's stumbling around things a lot of the time.
In the forest.
Yeah. But I went with someone who we used to use a little bit, who looked like she had a rising star, but has kind of drifted off a little bit now in the last little while. I went with Thompson McKenzie because, as you said, it wasn't a huge name here at that time. I know she's gone on to become a very big name, but at the time, Bryce Dallas Howard wasn't a big name here. Now, I do concede that Thompson McKenzie is a bigger name than Bryce Dallas Howard was at that time, I would think.
Her dad is Ron Howard, isn't it?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Her father is Ron Howard, isn't it?
I think...
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Thompson, sorry, I thought you were talking about my pick, Thompson McKenzie. I was like, I don't think so, but yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard, yeah. But yeah, I went with somebody who isn't a huge name because this role wasn't a big role. Like, this was one of the more minor names in that sense, so I tried to stick with that.
Fair enough. I do like both picks there, lads. I had a couple of names. When I was batting around Kitty and Ivy, I had race bended it a little bit. So I kept Zendaya as a backup on this.
Cool.
Obviously, providing that I changed Kitty's race a little bit.
Yeah.
But I chose not to, and I just forgot to take her off the backup list. I stuck with Karen Shepka though, as the main. Obviously, she played Sabrina.
Yeah.
And she's done a couple other bits and pieces around the way.
Yeah, obviously she's the lead in Total Killer, which I mentioned a bit. Yeah, the Total Killer is based around her. She's the lead actress in it. Like,
I'm mixing up that Total Killer. That's not the one with Fassbender, is it?
No,
it's the Killer.
All right,
no. Totally Killer is on Amazon Prime.
I mixed that up completely then.
It's like a mix between Scream and like Back to the Future, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I mixed that up. I was thinking that you were talking about the Fassbender one.
No, I haven't seen the Fassbender one yet, but Totally Killer is quite good. It's it's not amazing, but it's worth the watch. Like,
I'll add it to my 65 movies for the year watched.
Yeah.
Two very good picks there, lads. Obviously one who was a bona fide superstar and decided to step back out of the role for a while herself. One who, off the back of Ghostbusters, had the potential to be amazing superstar, and has done the exact same thing. Like you like to see that when actors go, I'm not just going to throw myself into everything, and they're picking and choosing their roles.
Wait, what do you mean Ghostbusters?
Oh, sorry, no, that's McKenna Grace, isn't it?
That's McKenna Grace. Thompson McKenzie is Last Night in Soho.
Yeah, sorry, mixed that up. But yeah, she's done the same thing, even off the back of that.
Yeah, she hasn't done as much off the back of Last Night in Soho. Like obviously Jojo Rabbit was before that as well, but she hasn't.
That was a fantastic movie.
Yeah, she hasn't kicked on massively since then, but she's capable of playing a lead role, which she showed in kind of Last Night in Soho. But also she's not a huge name. I also, Sophie Turner is like meant to be her older sister, and it's meant to be like a couple of years between them.
Yeah.
I need to keep this down a little bit. So that's where I was going with it.
That makes sense. I actually kept that in mind as well when I done mine. There's only 3 years between my two in Catherine Newton and Shepke.
Yeah, I think there's about 4 between the two I picked.
Yeah. So we all kind of stuck to it. I'm stuck here. I really wish I'd seen Last Night in Soho.
Like VAR, Greg. Make a decision.
Wait, did you not watch Last Night in Soho in the end?
No.
Jesus, me and Sherlock were telling you about it for fucking ages.
No, I put it on. I put it on one night and I fell asleep.
That's what it was. Yeah, you were fucking you were wrecked, and you were like, "Oh, I'll put it on," and then fell asleep like before it even started.
I came home from a night shift and I put it on that morning, and I fell asleep.
You fell asleep like immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to go with Chloe Grace Moretz name value wise.
Again, wasn't a name value here with.
No, I know, but we've kind of mixed around name value on some of the people anyway.
I don't know that we did.
Thompson McKenzie, I've seen in Jojo Rabbit. Obviously, she was brilliant in that. But I haven't seen her as a lead role in pretty much anything. As it says, Chloe Grace Moretz, I was seeing Carrie, and that was atrocious, but that wasn't her fault.
Yeah. I would say even now that Chloe Grace Moretz would be too big a name for there. That would have been my thing. Yeah, but not the main. Like as we said, Ivy isn't the main at the very start. Ivy only becomes the main about 3/4 of the way into the film, maybe halfway. Like up until then, Lucius is very clearly the main. You know what I mean?
He's a very strange way of filming, doesn't he, M. Night?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's where I kind of looked at. I want someone who's able to be the side character, where you're not thinking, "Oh, this is the main character for like a massive amount of the film."
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, you realize, "Oh, this is the main character," and that's basically what Thompson McKenzie is in Last Night in Soho. But obviously, I thought you had watched that. Obviously, that's not the case. So if I'd thought of the fact that you hadn't watched that, I probably would have stuck with Sophia Lillis, because I think that's probably
great.
I suppose that when you make that point, it's Tom's talking there and I can't hear a word he's saying.
You're giving Ted dodgy information, Greg.
I'm giving Ted no information. Like that argument he made kind of works for Chloe Grace Moretz as well.
I just think she's a very good actress. My way of thinking.
No, she is a very good actress.
She's now a favourite of Kings as well.
I just think she's a bit too big. I just think she's a bigger name than this role was at the time. Was my thinking. But obviously, I had it in my head that Greg had watched Last Night in Soho. If I'd remembered that you hadn't watched it, I probably would have stuck with Sophia Lillis, who obviously was in It and stuff like that. I think she was
probably the best thing about this first It. She was phenomenal.
Finn, maybe.
I don't think he overly stole the show. I I think the one person that stole the show out of the two movies was Bill Hader, but
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
Bill Hader.
No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with Chloe Grace, and we're gonna go down the line, and it's gonna be me and Tom for the first time next week.
Yeah, fair enough. Can't say too much against Chloe Grace Moretz.
Tell you what, that was a tight battle. That they were all good picks. Normally, some of the times we have an episode, and you'll have two picks that just don't work, and you're forced to pick between them. Now there was one that I had, but they were still good picks. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
That was a battle, lads.
I shouldn't have switched off Paul Dano. I should have just stuck with him, but then we would have been in trouble because it would have been a draw.
A rematch.
Yeah. I keep forgetting that you haven't watched Last Night in Soho when I used Thompson McKenzie because I think Sophia Lillis. What?
We're going away. We're going over to Manchester soon, and I'll watch it on the plane over.
I don't know if the plane ride's that long.
Or in the airport.
Yeah, I don't know if the plane ride's that long to watch that. But yeah, so I suppose I'll give you the film for what you're doing. I don't know if I'll be judging or if one of the two lads will have decided.
Oh no, you'll go back in. You'll go back in straight in as judge, I'd say.
No, well, we'll see if either of the two lads are available to record. But I'll give you something that we watched before, that I've watched a few years ago. That was filmed locally in Ireland. Although I wouldn't say most of the actors would have been.
Ireland's a big place, Larry.
Yeah, locally though in Ireland, and very locally in the sense of Bray for me and you, Greg. A little bit further afield from Tom, but
Tom's from Bray.
Bray, man.
I don't know. I don't know where in Bray Tom was from though, so I don't know how close he was to Ardmore Studios. It was quite close to where.
Close as you.
As close as me. All right, fair enough. So a little bit further afield for you then, Greg. But I don't think that little stretch of extra bit of walking won't make too much of a difference here. Gonna go with Reign of Fire, which is not a little known film, but not as well known as I think it should be.
Best dragon movie made. It's better than Dragonheart, lads. I'm putting that out there.
Well, I don't know if it's the best dragon film ever made, but it is very good.
It's 100% the best dragon movie ever made. I got into a massive argument with a lot of people on Facebook about this there a while back.
Well, I'd argue that How to Train Your Dragon is probably better.
That doesn't count.
Dragon film, isn't it?
No.
No, the Bruce Lee dragon story.
The what?
The Bruce Lee story.
Yeah, that's Enter the Dragon. Yeah, that's also a dragon film, Greg.
Dragon,
Mortal Kombat has a dragon move in it.
Yeah, see, maybe it's not the best dragon film, but it is very, very good. So
the most un-Matthew McConaughey role Matthew McConaughey's ever done. Yes,
it was a very strange step out for Matthew McConaughey. But it's a very enjoyable watch, quite action packed, which we know that this group loves action packed films, but this time it's less hand to hand action and more fighting dragons. But I'll leave you to start your work on that after we get off here, and don't forget to like, share, follow all that good stuff ourselves here and Greg and the boys over on the Slab Horror. And of course, like to welcome again Tom to the main part of the show. You've basically been doing it in your own time, but not been on the show for the last while, which is why we said, listen, we may as well get Tom in. He's doing the work every week anyway. We may as well bring him in.
Watching a movie, lads, tough stuff.
No, well,
it's tough at the top. It's tough at the top.
Watching the film isn't the tough part. It's debating the choices in your head is the tough part. But you do it every week and send in the picks to Greg usually, but now they'll be into the group. So I'll leave you to do that for next week. And until then, good luck.